This lecture is a summary of this course. This map shows the major topics we have covered in this course. And here are some key high-level takeaway messages. First, we talked about the natural language content analysis. Here, the main takeaway message is natural language processing is the foundation for text retrieval. But currently, NLP isn't robust enough, so the bag of words representation is generally the main method used in modern search engines. And it's often sufficient for most of the search tasks. But obviously for more complex search tasks, then we need deeper natural language processing techniques. And we then talked about the high-level strategies for text access. And we talked about the push versus pull. In pull, we talked about the querying versus browsing. Now, in general, in future search engines, we should integrate all these techniques to provide multimode information access. And then we talked about a number of issues related to search engines. We talked about the search problem, and we framed that as a ranking problem. And we talked about a number of retrieval methods. We started with an overview of vector space model and the probabilistic model. And then we talked about the vector space model in depth. We also later talked about the language modeling approach, and that's a probabilistic model. And here, the main takeaway message is that the modern retrieval functions tend to look similar, and they generally use various heuristics. The most important ones are TF, IDF weighting, document length normalization, and the TF is often transformed through a sublinear transformation function. And then we talked about how to implement a retrieval system. And here the main techniques that we talked about are how to construct the inverted index so that we can prepare the system to answer a query quickly. And we talked about how to do faster search by using the inverted index. And we then talked about how to evaluate the text retrieval system, mainly introduced the Cranfield evaluation methodology. This is a very important evaluation methodology that can be applied to many tasks. We talked about the major evaluation measures. So the most important measures for a search engine are MAP, mean average precision, and NDCG, normalized discounted cumulative gain, and also precision and recall are the two basic measures. And we then talked about the feedback techniques, and we talked about the ROCU in the vector space model and the mixture model in the language modeling approach. Feedback is a very important technique, especially considering the opportunity of learning from a lot of click-throughs on the web. We then talked about web search, and here we talked about how to use parallel indexing to solve the scalability issue in indexing. We introduced the MapReduce, and then we talked about how to use link information on the web to improve search. We talked about PageRank and hits as the major algorithms to analyze links on the web. We then talked about learning to rank. This is use of machine learning to combine multiple features for improving scoring. Not only the effectiveness can be improved using this approach, but we can also improve the robustness of the ranking function so that it's not easy to spam a search engine with just some features to promote a page. And finally, we talked about the future of web search. We talked about some major directions that we might see in the future in improving the current generation of search engines. And then finally, we talked about the recommender systems, and these are systems to implement the push mode. And we talked about the two approaches. One is content-based, one is collaborative filtering, and they can be combined together. Now, an obvious missing piece in this picture is the user. You can see, so user interface is also an important component in any search engine. Even though the current search interface is relatively simple, there actually have been a lot of studies of user interfaces related to visualization, for example. And this is a topic that you can learn more by reading this book. It's an excellent book about all kinds of studies of search user interface. If you want to know more about the topics that we talked about, you can also read some additional readings that are listed here. In this short course, we only managed to cover some basic topics in text retrieval and search engines. And these resources provide additional information about more advanced topics, and they give a more thorough treatment of some of the topics that we talked about. And a main source is the Synthesis Digital Library, where you can see a lot of short textbooks or long tutorials. They tend to provide a lot of information to explain a topic. And there are multiple series that are related to this course. One is Information Concepts, Retrieval and Services. Another is Human Language Technology, and yet another is Artificial Intelligence and Machine Learning. There are also some major journals and conferences listed here that tend to have a lot of research papers related to the topic of this course. And finally, for more information about resources, including readings and toolkits, etc., you can check out this URL. So if you have not taken the text mining course in this data mining specialization series, then naturally the next step is to take that course. As this picture shows, to mine big text data, we generally need two kinds of techniques. One is text retrieval, which is covered in this course. And these techniques would help us convert raw big text data into small relevant text data, which are actually needed in a specific application. Human plays an important role in mining any text data because text data is written for humans to consume. So involving humans in the process of data mining is very important. And in this course, we have covered various strategies to help users get access to the most relevant data. These techniques are also essential in any text mining system to help provide provenance and to help users interpret any patterns that the user would find through text data mining. So in general, the user would have to go back to the original data to better understand the patterns. So the text mining course, or rather text mining and analytics course, will be dealing with what to do once the user has found the information. So this is the second step in this picture, where we would convert the text data into actionable knowledge. And this has to do with helping users to further digest the found information, or to find the patterns and to reveal knowledge buried in text. And such knowledge can then be used in the application system to help decision making or to help a user finish a task. So if you have not taken that course, the natural next step would be to take that course. Thank you for taking this course. I hope you have found this course to be useful to you, and I look forward to interacting with you at a future opportunity.